Constitution is not perfect. Even some of the framers recognize that there can't be a perfect document written by imperfect men. But it was the best that they could do at the time. And I definitely believe it is far better than what any one of this modern administration or the past administrations have recommended. So no, it was not perfect, but I do believe it is better than anything they're offering currently. The men and women of those times were far more educated, far more nationalistic and patriotic than anything we have today. Today is all about globalism, New World Order. So again, officers are trained to do what they're programmed to do. Human drones. They're not going to take it upon themselves not to arrest for marijuana. They're not going to take it upon themselves to say, hey, I'm ignorant in the Constitution, so let me educate myself on it, because they're not told. It's not part of their programming. I've been able to resist that programming and learn for myself. This is the problem you have with human drones. You're able to resist the programming. I don't know if future AI will do that. I know they make movies where the robots, the AI technology becomes sentient and learns to think on their own. What's going to happen then? Will they somehow feel they don't need humans anymore? This is something we need to consider. But of course, when it comes to AI technology, they'll sell it as, oh, well, it is a necessary evil and it'll never happen. We just need to do it because it's going to save humanity the work and trouble of building things and robots. The Federalist number 8 on Homeland Security and the police state. Safety from external danger is the most powerful director of national conduct. Even the ardent love of liberty will, after time, give way to its dictates. The violent destruction of life and property incident to war, the continual effort and alarm attendant on a state of continual danger will compel nations the most attached to liberty to resort for repose and security to institutions which have a tendency to destroy their civil and political rights. To be more safe, they at length become willing to run the risk of being less free. Alexander Hamilton continues to say on the police state, the perpetual menacings of danger oblige the government to be always prepared to repel it. Its armies must be numerous enough for instant defense. The continual necessity for their services enhances the importance of the soldier and proportionably degrades the condition of the citizen. Shall I read that again? The continual necessity for their services, growing crime in your neighborhood, enhances the importance of the police, the soldier, and proportionably degrades the condition of the citizen. Can you travel freely without asking the government permission? Can you possess a dime bag of weed without being thrown in the cage because you have possession of a plant? The police state becomes elevated above the civil. The inhabitants of territories, neighborhoods, often the theater of war, crime, are unavoidably subjected to frequent infringements on their rights, which serve to weaken their sense of those rights. And by degrees, the people are brought to consider the police not only as their protectors, but as their superiors. The transition from this disposition to that of considering them masters is neither remote nor difficult, but it is very difficult to prevail upon a people under such impressions, to make a bold or effectual resistance to usurpation supported by the police state and police power. What did Frederick Bastiat say about the law? I know some people will argue, police have a tough job. Their job is to enforce the law. You should just obey the law. Yes, but that law must be just. That law must be reasonable. And what we're living today is a law system, a legal system, a justice system of legal plunder. Frederick Bastiat said, thus, as the force of an individual cannot lawfully touch the person, the liberty, or the property of another individual, for the same reason, the common force, the government, cannot lawfully be used to destroy the person, the liberty, or the property of individuals or classes. He also said, the law has done more than this. It has acted in direct opposition to its proper end. It has destroyed its own object. It has been employed in annihilating the justice which it ought to have established, and effacing among rights the limit which was its true mission to respect. It has placed the collective force, the government, in the service of those who wish to traffic, without risk to themselves, without scruple, in the persons, the liberty, and the property of others. It has converted plunder into a right, that it may protect it, and lawful defense into a crime, that it may punish it. The Law by Frederick Bastiat. What did Richard Henry Lee say in 1775 of the British government using their standing army to victimize the population? Modern day police used to victimize, prey on the population. The once populous, flourishing, and commercial town is now garrisoned by an army, not sent to protect, but to enslave. The civil government is overturned, and a military despotism is erected upon its ruins. Without law, without right, powers are assumed unknown to the Constitution. Private property is unjustly invaded. The inhabitants, daily subjected to the licentiousness of the soldiery, are forbid to remove in defiance of their natural rights, in violation of the solemn compacts, the most solemn compacts. Or if after long and wearisome solicitation a pass is procured, their effects are detained. And even those who are most favored have no alternative but poverty or slavery. The distress of many thousands of people, wantonly deprived of the necessaries of life, is a subject on which we would not wish to enlarge. Again, back in 1775, they were speaking of a force, a military force at the time, but we have a paramilitary force of law enforcement doing exactly the same thing the British soldiers were doing. History is repeating itself, ladies and gentlemen. What did Thomas Paine say about the British government, the British soldiers that were sent to brutalize the colonists? And again, substitute the British soldiers, British government, for American government, and when you hear military, just think police. So after years of being subject to military abuse, Thomas Paine said, "Hath your house been burnt? Hath your property been destroyed before your eyes? Are your wife and children destitute of a bed to lie on, or bread to live on? Have you lost a parent or a child by their hands, and yourself the ruined and wretched survivor? If you have not, then you are not to judge those who have. But if you have, and can still shake hands with the murderers, then you are unworthy of the name father, husband, friend, or lover. And whatever you may be your rank or title in life, you have the heart of a coward and the spirit of a sycophant. That's Thomas Paine's opinion on being friends with the British troops, the standing army. They were not heroes. What did George Washington say about foreign entanglements? Let's see if I can find it here. George Washington's his farewell address. Let's see here. Foreign entanglements. What does George Washington say about foreign entanglements? In the execution of such a plan, nothing is more essential than that permanent, invertebrate antipathies against particular nations and passionate attachments for others should be excluded, and that in the place of them, just and amicable feelings toward all should be cultivated. The nation which indulges toward another an habitual hatred or an habitual fondness is in some degree a slave. In some degree a slave. It is a slave to its animosity or to its affection, either of which is sufficient to lead it astray from its duty and its interests. He continues to say, Europe has a set of primary interests which is to us none or very remote relation. Read that again. Europe has a set of primary interests which to us have none or a very remote relation. Hence, she must be engaged in frequent controversies, the causes of which are essentially foreign to our concerns. Hence, therefore, it must be unwise in us to implicate ourselves by artificialities. It must be unwise in us to implicate ourselves by artificial ties in the ordinary vicissitudes of her politics, or the ordinary combinations and collisions of her friendships or enmities. Basically, he's saying the framers came to this country so we can escape that nonsense. What does it say? He also says, why quit our own to stand in foreign ground? Why end our own civil war here to then go and fight in other foreign lands? And that's what we see about with all of this foreign entanglement, all the wars, 800 something bases, and the ones we know of, and secret bases in foreign countries. Why quit our own to stand on foreign ground? Why, by interweaving our destiny with that of any part of Europe, entangle our peace, prosperity in the toils of European ambition, rivalship, interest, humor, or caprice? George Washington, his farewell address, was that 1796. So whenever I hear about, well, we need to do this because of Israel, well, we need to do this because of Syria, that is none of our business. That should be European interests. Why are we sacrificing our American men and women for something that's not our business? I know why. A New World Order agenda, a globalist agenda, that's why we're intervening, or I like to say interfering, not intervening. Because out of chaos comes order.
Oppression of gays and minorities and whatever, they're subjected to the propaganda, the brainwashing, and so.
But I think there's kind of a nobility that
right,
they're trying.
But there is an idealism inside some of them,
Right.
there is this sense of virtue that's
Right.
corrupted.
That's what it's